Hi, my friends. Thank you for tuning in. I hope your day is going well. Yes, I'm sitting here in a fresh makeup headband. I wanted a brown one, and that's what I got. I got a brown makeup headband. And I was in the mood to do a Shop My Stash video. I feel like these are so fun to do every so often. And honestly, I sometimes do these videos, or I do my makeup with this mentality, even when I'm not doing a video on a random day. And I'm just like, I'm gonna use the things I haven't used in a while. And it's so much fun, and I would really encourage you guys to do it. And if you really want like the shopping vibe, definitely pull the things out and put them in a little bag. Yeah, this is gonna be random. This is gonna be fun, I think. Of course it's gonna be fun. It's always fun. We're up, we've been given another day. Let's get after it. Let's enjoy ourselves. I already have all my skincare on, and I pulled out the good old Lumi Glotion. This is the Deep Glow. I was in a phase for a while where I was using this a lot as a primer, and it does, yes, give the glow, and it gives the depth too. So if you feel like you need a little skin tone perk up, you can just throw this on. I can't even remember if I used to blend it with my hands or a brush, but I feel like using a brush. I did my nails too. I think they look really nice. And by the way, I need a good top coat recommendation from you all. What top coat are we loving these days? Just for everyday nails. These aren't gel nails. It's the LA Colors gel polish, but if you really look at the print, it says gel-like shine. But I swear I love that polish. It lasts decently well, even without a top coat, but I feel like a really good top coat would just absolutely lock it in. Are they still making the Sally Hansen top coat that's like, it looks like it's in a mirror shine bottle, or is that gone? It's been a while. See what that did for my face? It didn't even matter that like my skin is not tan. It's just gonna give you like this bronziness. It's like if you mixed some of those bronzer drops with a glowy primer, and you're getting that 2-in-1 effect. But anyways, I use the LA Colors, the one with gel in the name, and the shade is Fierce. I actually feel like I'm moving through my life as a different person with these nicely done red nails right now. The foundation I picked, I was kind of comparing a couple things to this the other day, and it just made me think, yeah, I want to use my Neutrogena Healthy Skin. I love Healthy Skin. It's such a good foundation. The shade is Buff. It's great for a natural look, surprising staying power on me. Gotta use that little bottle. They're not putting a pump in. I could probably find a pump and put it in, but I just haven't done that. But it's a nice thin, liquidy, traditional foundation texture, but it just looks so pretty and natural on the skin. Not too matte, not dewy. I may have swiped entirely too much on my forehead there, but it's a guessing game when we don't have a pump, gang. Okay, I'm buffing in. Oh, that looks fresh. That looks really nice with the Glotion. Have you guys who watch TikTok ever run across this guy who, his name is Josh with a W, Jawsh, and he's always just like talking about how certain things are just amazing, like he's just living life in awe. Living life probably the way God wants us to. And he's like, that first cup of coffee in the morning, dude, it just rips. Like he talks that way, and he's so funny. Like I find myself just laughing. Look at this skin. It's just, there's a thinness in this foundation. There's a tidbit of extra hydration. It does give me the vibe of Glossier and House Labs a little bit, maybe a little less coverage than House Labs, but like what a quality foundation that has been around a long time but doesn't get a lot of love these days. So good. Then I pulled a concealer from the stash that has been so underloved, and it's my one size. It's the Butter Silk Turn Up the Base Butter Silk Concealer in Fair 3. And man, I love this stuff. This was one of those concealers that I loved for the fact that it was so thin and light, but really good coverage. As it goes on, it's making me think, even coming off the doe foot applicator and being a different delivery style than the NYX Bear With Me, it almost is making me think of that thinness of the NYX Bear With Me concealer serum. I've got a cat scratching to get into a particular room. Morphe M132, our chunky little angled yet also tapered concealer friend. Look how you spread this out, like it's really covering. Like I've had it for a while, but it still smells fine. What do I have after school today? I got to take Belle to her tumbling lesson, and then there's a tumbling class right after that that she usually takes part in. And while I take her to that, I've got Rhett and Biddy over at Nana and Papa's house, because this is like immediately after school. And then I've got a parent-teacher conference with Rhett's teacher, 5:15, and then Bub's handling Belle's conference, which starts at 5:30. I just didn't think I'd be able to like make it there in time unless mine would happen to start early or something. So yeah, we're choosing the divide and conquer strategy on those. There's that coverage. I think it's so pretty. It's very light and thin, but still the coverage is totally there. Don't you love when someone else puts a product in your head and they're talking about how they love it and you already have it and you're like, oh yeah. Like they just kind of stir something up in you on a certain thing. And that was me watching somebody talk about this rose colored powder from Laura Mercier. It's the translucent loose setting powder tone up in the rose color. Everybody's got their rose powder. This is, you know, super subtle on the rose, but if you're looking at it and you're thinking rose and you're expecting rose, you'll see a little bit of soft pinky tone in it. I shook out a lot, but that's going to be our under eye and T-zone friend. Yes, I'm laying it down today. I just feel like I'm doing my makeup with some enthusiasm today, y'all. I'm ready for this day. And then there's no school on Halloween. It's like a teacher, you know, we used to call those teacher in-service days where they just have a day to come in kid-free and kids stay home, and Halloween's on a Friday so we don't have to worry about getting them in bed early to start another school day. Slay calendar. Have I told you guys what they're all being this year? We don't have a big ensemble costume, and we haven't for a couple years because they just, you know, they want to be what they want to be. They're their own individual people, and they definitely like do not all want to be the same thing. Biddy is Wonder Woman. She's going to be a terrific Wonder Woman. Can't wait to get her ready for that. Belle is going as Stitch. She's got a head to toe Stitch. It looks kind of like a onesie pajama, but it's a Stitch costume. And then Rhett wanted to be a bear again. He was a bear a couple of years ago. He was a bear and then he was a lawn guy last year, but he loves being a bear. I asked him if he was going to be a scary bear or a sweet bear, and he said a sweet bear. Okay, that powder looks good, by the way. I didn't really talk about it as I was doing it, but I always feel like any Laura Mercier powder you choose, any of the loose setting powders are going to be good. I still stand by the fact that my most favorite is the Ultra Blur, the talc-free. But, you know, I bounce back to the traditional every so often, and that one's still, like, really good, and I like this one, too. A little step more brightening than her OG. And then I picked out a powder to put all over my skin. And you guys know I often bounce between a different, like, a drugstore powder foundation for this step, and I thought, what about CoverGirl Outlast? The Extreme Wear pressed powder. It's a good one too, but it never gets invited to the party. Creamy Natural is that shade. I'm just going to take this little angled brush. These tend to be pigmented powders that I use in this step, and I don't need a lot of them, but I just want their texture. You know, I just want the powder to even out the feeling of my skin. Hi, Bisky. Hi, Precious. We have had some really gloomy days this week, and I've loved it. Gloomy, rainy, like looking like fall, just giving me fall when I go outside. And I know some people are like, the rain, you know. Yeah, I don't love walking out into the rain, but if I'm armed with an umbrella, no big whoop, it couldn't look more fall. The leaves are, I think, approaching peak fall colors where I live. So you're going down the street, I feel like I'm in a movie, and you're seeing the wind, you're seeing the rain coming through. The leaves are falling down and sticking to the wet street. Like, yes, I don't need that weather all the time, but I need a little bit of it, you know? My complexion is all put together now as far as coverage goes. And then we're getting into the putty realm. I shop my stash for the putties. Putty bronzer, putty blush, couple different putty blushes, a luminous blush. Don't feel like I've touched these in a while. Putty bronzer that I pulled out is in Honey Drip, and I'm concerned about its depth level, but I wanted to give it a try. And I even have a putty bronzer brush. e.l.f. made a brush labeled putty bronzer. I'm just gonna dip straight into the product here. Give it a couple swirls. That may or may not be enough. Nope. Okay, let's try the finger. Swipe on some dots. Can you see the dots? We're going to just go across and do the forehead. If we're not happy, we're going to pull in a deeper shade because I do think I have one other color. The blend is good. Even though I've had this product on hand for a little while, like I'm not having any struggles, I just think the shade is a little lighter than I want it to be. And the brush feels kind of small too. I'm going to take out this luminous one because I think the shade is going to be a little deeper. This one is called Seaside Shimmer. Looks like this. Dude, I don't know. I have been watching Josh too much. Now I'm going to start calling you guys dude. Having trouble reaching peak satisfaction. Let's try the cheekbones. Might just be my hairline. That should be enough. What's my deal? Place that a little low over here. Sorry. Using that little putty brush. I kind of like this brush for the cheekbone area. Okay, that's fine. I don't know what I was expecting up on the hairline. I guess I really want to transform into a summertime tan or something. And I had a thought that, because I'm going to do several cream steps here, I had a thought that instead of setting every cream step, I'm just going to use a finishing powder on top of all of it. See how I like that? It's fine. It's fine. Okay, the Luminous bronzer did the job. Then I got the Luminous Putty Blush in like a lighter, more pinky shade, and this one is in Bermuda. And then I got a toastier one, and that one is in the shade Bali. So see, there's that color. Now, as I've said, a similar brush to Sephora 56 is really the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush, and I'm going to prove that to you today using it to blend out this blush. I'm going into the deeper one, the one called Bali. Gosh, how soon I forget. Bringing the toastiness, getting it down, like feeling like I'm blending just on top of where that bronzer was placed. That's enjoyable, yeah. Expert face brush, getting the job done if you don't want to buy a Sephora 56. This would have been listed. I did a short video this week where I was talking about 3 Sephora must-haves because that sale's coming up. 3 things that I actually use every day. Not just some things that I do really love, like maybe a palette here or there that I really love, but things that literally I use every single day. And I could only pin it down to 3. And then somebody did comment like, oh, you love that Sephora 56 brush. And I do. I think that's a great brush. But I've recently realized that this can do what the 56 does. But the 3 things. Can anybody guess what those 3 things were? Daily use Sephora products. Granted, you could find a couple of these at Ulta, but the Supergoop Every Single Face, my daily sunscreen, the Shiseido eyelash curler, and then the Kosas Cloud Set powder, which while you might not see that working into every single makeup routine, it's a big touch-up step for me pretty much every day. Okay, now we're taking Bermuda. This is the Luminous one. Okay, like that. And I'm thinking, let's go a little more apple of the cheek with it. I want to show you how the brush can blend out just like something that's placed on your skin in these dots. Putty, y'all. 3, technically 4 putty products in use today. Dabbing over. That's giving a nice little glow. Who did you love on the Halloween episode of Dancing with the Stars? Who did I really like? Always digging Mark and Whitney, and also Robert and Whitney. I really kind of feel like it's going to come down to those 2 couples in the end. That's my guess. But I also feel like the pro, Daniela, the one who's with Dylan Efron, I think that gal could have chemistry with anyone and anything. She's just got it, She is that girl, as we say. Somebody suggested somewhere they'd like to see an all pros season, and I would like that too. I think that would be super fun. Okay, but we got our blush on today. Ultimately, even though it was 2 blushes, doesn't it look kind of light and soft? Then we pulled out a cream stick. Yes. This is the L'Oreal Lumi Le Glow highlighter stick, and the shade is Glowy Creme Chic. And I'm going to put a little bit of this right in here. We're going to look, just touched by an angel. A little bit right up here. Okay. I've been so naturally dewy the last few days, like getting caught out in the rain sometimes, and I'm just getting misted. A lot of times it's been a misty, light rain, and I just walk out and I say, okay, nature, be my setting spray. I don't think they're making this little brush anymore from Real Techniques, but I like it. I need to come up with something readily available. But, it's just like a compact little cream brush. Probably about the size of that e.l.f. putty bronzer brush. But just tapping over that highlighter, giving myself a nice little glow. I'm really loving that complexion. But you know what? I want to go over it with a little setting powder. These haven't been especially tacky cream products that I've used. Those putty things do not end up feeling tacky at all. But I grabbed out from Hourglass. This is the Ambient Lighting Infinity Powder. This sometimes gets put in those larger palettes. And it's just kind of like a pretty all over finishing step. So here's what we're looking like. And then we're going to take some of this. This is the little Profusion round domed, round tapered powder brush. And I'm dabbing all over the entire face. And I think you'll find everything looks just a little bit softened and just a little bit like extra pulled together. It's not a big layer of powder. I can still see my highlighter through it. Yes. Okay, random little assortment of face products. I like what I've got now. Alrighty friends, we're gonna do brows. And I'm using the thicker one. The thicker CoverGirl Clean Fresh Brow Pencil. This is called the Brow Filler Pomade Pencil. Shade is dark brown. Normally I like the Nano, but this is their like triangle shape, teardrop shaped, I should say. It's not a real thick triangle, but anyways, I'm gonna use this in my brows. It's gonna work, but it's gonna feel kind of thick. Kind of taking me back to the days of, remember the Wet n Wild retractable brow pencil? Shade was ash brown, and I'd always say, nice ash. What do you need? You just clucking? It feels weird to me today, but I'm doing that. And then, oh yeah, they put one of these little brushes on it instead of a spoolie. Skeptical, but like, the brow looks very full on right now. I feel that brow is taking my entire face by storm. It's okay. Let's just move on. Let's at least be symmetrical about it. Well, what did you find? She found like one of those little things that sometimes comes off a milk jug or a bottle, like a little plastic open circle thing. I remember my first cat ever, Mr. Nut. He loved to chase those around. And they'd always go under the fridge. Wonder how many are under that refrigerator in that old house now. I'm trying to work off of an actual tip of this product because the full surface of that teardrop is too big. And I don't want to get too thick. This is a real challenge, using a different thickness of brow pencil than you're used to. I feel like I've never done my brows before. Okay, let's see if the little magic paddle brush there is gonna make it better. I don't know, I feel like it's just tamping it down. It's not really brushing it through, it's just tamping it down. Give me a spoolie. Bisky, don't worry, I'm okay. I know you can tell I'm in distress, but I'm okay. Okay, then I have this. I couldn't find hardly any gels that I hadn't used in a while. This is Essence Thick and Wow Fixing Brow Mascara, plus volumizing fibers, because we need a lot more volume in this look. Ash brown. The cap looks, I don't know. The brush is too big for this kind of product, in my opinion. But I'm going to try to get the bare minimum on. Do I feel like I'm getting hold? I saw a picture the other day and it was like, when I was growing up, this is how I imagined animals were living. And it was a picture of like a rabbit with a little dress and apron on down underneath a tree in her own little like underground cottage that had like pie baking and a little table with her baby bunnies at it, little rugs and artwork and stuff. And I thought, yeah, that's how it should be. And who's to say that isn't how it is right now? Who's gotten down there in a literal rabbit hole? Okay, my brows feel large and in charge. Whatever eye look I do, whatever lip I do has got to take some responsibility away from these brows. I pulled out the palette that spoke to me most. The palette where I laid eyes on it. It was in the drawer and I thought, oh, that one is actually calling my name. And it's the Patrick Ta Major Dimension 2, the rosy one. Has anybody else seen those smaller Patrick Ta palettes that are like all matte? I want to say they're 6-pan palettes. Does anybody feel like that's necessary if you already own the Major Dimension 3, the all matte? I see it and I immediately think want, and then I'm like, wait, hold on. Like, is this anything different than what you already have? We are going to use Milani eyeshadow primer because I know that like those shadows lay down really well on top of this stuff if you use some shimmer. I just want to say thank you to you guys for giving me the opportunity to like do these videos. I love doing this. I love getting to wake up and be in this room and sit down and speak to people who care about the things I'm talking about, you know, or just even want to listen to it as background noise. Like, that's cool too. Like, thank you for allowing me into your life in some form or fashion. I appreciate it. Okay, dabbed in the Milani eyeshadow primer. And then, like I said, Major Dimension 2. So we've got our row of mattes down there on the bottom. We've got our shimmers up top. We've got our creams over there. Yeah, I want to just dig into this guy today. I'm looking at you right here, you Dusty Rose. That's going in first. As someone who owns Major Dimension 1, 2, and 3, I just have trouble looking at the new ones and thinking, I need a matte 6-pan. But if anybody wants to try making a case for one of those for me, feel free. I will listen. There's that Dusty Rose getting in here, feeling like home, you know? You ever have those eye palettes that just feel like home? You feel comfortable with them. You know what they're gonna do. They know what you're gonna do. Do they? I like to think so. Boom. That dusty rose. Then we've got this nice light shade here, all matte. Yes. You know that needs to come up over the edge, the outer edge. Smoothing. I reached a point where I realized the light shades are not so much about some spectacular spotlighting highlight light color under the brow. It's about smoothing the last shade you did. That's the chief use these days. What's on my forehead? Huh. There we go. Let's just walk ourselves down this line a little bit. Let's go right here. Next shade, this is a little more pinky. This is giving the most pinkiness, I think, in this palette. And we're gonna keep it, I guess, a little more outer corner focused, but honestly, wherever you want that to go, just let it ride. We finished rewatching Friday Night Lights, and now we're watching Felicity. Has anybody else watched Felicity? I remember when I was trying to figure out what to watch immediately after Gilmore Girls, that was recommended for the vibes, you know? But we literally just started that last night. Then we'd start thinking about this outer corner, and I love how we have these tones over here. We have this depth. We have kind of a mid-tony one too. I'm gonna take a little bit of that deeper cream. Is she as creamy as she ever was, Em? Yep. Padding on the outer part of my eyelid, and we're gonna just work that as a base. You know, these don't have to go all over the lid. It can be a way to accent and intensify the powder that is to come, you know? The other shade might be a little bit more base-like. Sorry, I was looking for a clean finger and I got a finger that already had the stuff on it. Thumb. Okay, this is not gonna look real clean just yet, but we're gonna layer on top. We just want a little base. And I like noticing what happens when some richness tops that base. I'm talking about this one right here, right down here. Plummy, deep, honestly doesn't need the help or assistance of anything else. But when those two worlds collide, like, you have to admit, it makes it even more intense than it would have been otherwise. When you have that little base. Flipping brush. Whew. It's an experience. I'm just asking God to keep me in a state of calm today. I do have that parent-teacher conference coming up. I was a kid who, as a child, like, I did not stir things up at all in the classroom. Like, there was no bomb that my teacher could possibly drop on my parent about me, really, at the parent-teacher conferences. But I always got really nervous at the thought of my parents going to a parent-teacher conference. Like, wait, you're gonna sit down with them for 15 minutes and just talk about me? I don't know if I like that. And now it's like, Belle and Eve, it's a pleasure, you know. I know what's gonna be told. My last conference, my pre-K conference on Rhett, went well last year, and he just last week brought home a really nice report card. So I don't think anything's gonna really take me by storm today. I don't think, but just as a kid, like, why did that ever get to me so much like it did? Like, I remember my mom coming home. My dad was the principal, but I know my mom went and did some of the conferences about me. And I remember she'd come home. What'd they say? What'd they say? You lived that life, girlfriend. You were there. You know what you did. Like, watched too many soap operas growing up as a kid. That's probably my problem. Things don't happen without a little drama. I haven't been talking much about what I've been doing here, but I've been just kind of further blending the dark shade up and out and just working it right where I want it into that creasel region. And then you can take that bare blending brush. Things are mixing together. Things are this beautiful kind of pinky, plummy, peachy haze. It's nice. On the lid, I'm gonna first go with a little bit of this deepest shimmer. I don't feel like this one gets reached for a lot just because I'm always thinking of the mattes. Am I in focus? But I'm gonna take some of that over the center of my lid, and that's really pretty. And then just leave like a third of my lid left for something brighter. I do like this shade. And I'm kind of letting it come up too, like up a little bit past the crease. Just taking up some of that space. And then I'm going to go to this like pinky one right here. And this is where like these shadows really have some glimmer, but they seem to adhere pretty well. And I'm just getting that most concentrated amount of that shade on the innermost corner and just letting it pull over the rest. really, really trying to embrace that let go and let God mentality. As I heard somebody say it recently, let God cook. Yeah. Really. I can do that. For some reason on this eye, I don't feel like it laid down the way it did on the other eye. And apparently I wanted to go in with the least convenient finger to fix the problem. Okay. We're a little bit dazzled up there on the inner corner. I like it. I'm kind of wondering if I got this blended enough on the outer corner. I was really like talking while I did it, and I don't think I was thinking enough. Okay, now what? Now what do we do? I want a little bit of that to come down on the lower lash line. I'm going to trust that it's going to stay there. It's not going to be a rainy day today. I don't have that to contend with. Not that my makeup really suffered at all in the rain yesterday, in the last couple days. But we're just going to keep it on the outside. And suddenly there's a greenness becoming more visible in my eye color. Anytime I do this. I see it a little bit on the when stuff's on the top of my eyes. Upper lid focused. But when it comes around, I'm like, yep. Cool. Do I even need an upper liner? Like, is this necessary? I don't really feel like doing it. And apparently I've been succeeding in rotating the mascaras because nothing feels especially underused. Maybe you haven't seen me using this Hourglass one much yet, but it was sent in PR. They're unlocked. There's a big stamp over what it actually is. The heart needs a second chance. Okay. We're curling. Why are you such an angel?
Mommy,
Yes, Biddy?
I need to go potty. I want to tell the video what I'm going to be for Halloween.
Okay, I already said it, but you can say it too.
I'm going to be Wonder Woman.
On the topic of conferences, Biddy was, I think, referred to as an angel child by her teacher. Oh, Biddy. What's going on at school today?
We're going to have a Disney and a superhero dance party. And also...
Oh yeah, it's the end of Red Ribbon Week.
And also I'm going to watch the Charlotte's Web movie. And I get to bring a stuffed animal and a blanket.
Oh, it's going to be so much fun. Mm-hmm. And you're going to wear, what are you going to wear, like a Disney princess shirt? Is that what you decided?
Yes.
Okay, I think you have a couple of those.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Some people might wear Disney dresses. Do you want to do that?
No.
Like a full-on princess dress?
No, because it's hard to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
See you again.
This mascara is doing okay. It's not quite throwing down the way the Too Faced Ribbon Wrapped would. It's drying kind of fast. Very weighty, luxurious feeling tube. You know what I'm getting now in my email? Scams inviting me to be a guest on different celebrity podcasts. I can tell they're a scam. Like, even the email seems like it could be legit. You know, I always check back at the email address and see, like, is it xyzqpr@abcdefg.com, you know, like, or is it something that seems legit? And these seem legit, but I think they're scams. Like, we're going to offer you $5,000 to be on so-and-so's podcast. It's just the way it's written. I can just tell. But if I would have done all these podcasts, I would have made a lot of money so far. Who are some of the people, like former Bachelor contestants? And you could just tell because they're like, you can talk about your history with dating. I mean, I guess I could talk about the fact that Bub did ask me to the Sweetheart Dance back in 2001, and I went, and the rest was history. Here's the tea. Back in our college years, there was a football player, I will not name names, who tried to move in on your girl here. I was at one college, Bub was at another college at the time. I was at Monmouth, he was at Augustana. All I'm going to say is, by Thanksgiving, he transferred. I didn't do anything wrong, but there was somebody actively trying to, like, break up the situation. Okay, e.l.f. lash extender. There was another high school boyfriend before Bub. Kind of like one of those setup situations, like the fellow cheerleaders saying, like, he really likes you. And I'm like, okay, I'll be nice, okay. It was not love, you know, it was not love. Between him and Bub, there were a few dates. Again, not love. And I'm not saying Bub moved colleges all because of me. He was not really happy there. He didn't like his major. He didn't really love the school. Like, and then here I was, and also like one of his high school friends too, just loving life at Monmouth, and He made the switch. To this day, I feel like the football coaches should have given me more thank yous, because here I basically handed them a 6'6" defensive lineman, all conference status, like, here you go. I love Monmouth College though. Liberal arts college, West Central Illinois, not too far from home. The best times, the best times. My eye look is complete. Here's what I chose for the lips. It's gonna be kind of nude, I think. I'm gonna start with the lipstick. This is a mini from by Mario. The shade is called Sam. It came as part of like a little lip kit a while back. I kind of want to echo the tones of the eyes right here on the lips. So this is giving that kind of warm nude. It feels matte, feels a little dry, but then I want to come in with a little depth. This is Lancome, or Lancome if you prefer, $1 Million Berry. Somebody named it when the song $1 Million Berry was real popular, I think. I'm doing exactly what I did on a short video the other day, where I was working with this little lip kit from Makeup Forever. You got two liners. One is more like mid-tone neutral and one is deeper. And you take the deeper one and you start pulling it in from the sides, like a little bit. Not too much. Leave some space. This is going even easier than the liners did because there's extra moisture on my lips from the lipstick. But then you kind of blend. Ooh, and then you gloss it. Today I'm glossing with a Buxom gloss. This is the shade White Russian Sparkle. The tiny petite doe foot. Enjoyable. I like that. The only thing this look needs is more blush. I mean, get a load of that eye look though. I'm gonna find a powder blush that I can add to this look that is shop my stash status. She doesn't wanna leave, she just wanna leave. Okay, this is Maybelline Fit Me blush in nude. Got some shimmer. Been used, been loved. That'll work. It's an old-fashioned blush pile-up. It's adding a little sheen too, a little extra. But that is my look today. Thank you guys so much for being part of it. Thank you for being part of the rambles and stories. And yeah, did the brows end up not causing too much trouble in all this? I don't know. Let's take this off so we can really see. Parent-teacher conference. Look at the day. All right, thank you, my friends. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you again here next time. I love you. Bye.